So once the users got the P-CSCF request IP address, now he can start communicating with the network. So the first on the left here, this is the user himself. This is the UE. So the user now need to get SIP registered or make the registration for the IMS. So the question which you might ask yourself, why the user need again to do registration or attach to IMS? Actually, the IMS, even the registration or the attach being completed for the EBC side, for the IMS itself, the user is still not being authenticated or authorized to access the network. He needs first to get registered to the IMS. So here we are going to explain. As you can see here, the first step, what will happen, the user will send a SIP register message to the P-CSCF. If you remember in the previous session, we were explaining about the function of the IMS entities. We mentioned that this proxy CSF is actually acting as the first point of contact. So all the messages need to go through the P-CSF first, through the UE, then it will be forwarded till it reach the C. I added in the top right here what is CSCF abbreviate stands for. It stands for call session control function. So the first point of contact, again, as mentioned before, in the function of the IMS, is that the proxy call session control function is acting as a first point of contact. So it will receive the SIP register. The SIP register, actually, includes many important information. I will go through them in details in the next slide. But just here, I will just give you a high level what kind of information which is mandatory to be known by the proxy CS. The first information is two pieces of information. The first one is IMBI, IMBU. This one, actually, the first one is abbreviated for private user identity, or IMS private user identity. And actually, this is used for the authentication and also internal working within the IMS itself. So this is like identity, but it's a private one, which is used by the IMS. The second one stands for IMS public user identity. And this is like for any external communication between the IMS entities and any other entities. So the first one is similar to the MZ, for example. So yeah, this is the main idea. The third information, the UE is telling the P-CSCF or the proxy call session control function its own IP address. It's telling this is my IP address, where whenever you would like to send any response or any feedback, you need to send it at this particular address. So now the same information will be forwarded from the proxy CSCF to the interrogating call session control function, which is IC. The main idea that actually it cannot be forwarded from the proxy to the interrogating directly, because still the proxy doesn't know what the IP address of the interrogating CSCF. So the proxy call session control function needs first to query the DNS, asking them about asking or getting the IP addresses about the I-CSCF. So once it's got the IC using the SIP URI, which is being included in the SIP register, what is being sent to the DNS, the DNS will be now telling them you can send it to this particular IP address. So it will forward the same message here. Then the ICSCF actually need to do what? It's need now to go and query from the HSS, home subscriber server, about the IP address of the serving call session control function for this particular user. So it will send this user authorization request. And as you can see in the top right here, this is requesting for the authentication information. And the second part is requesting for the information about the serving call session control function. Actually, what is this authentication information? This one, actually, it's telling them that I would like to get the authentication information for this IMBI and the MBU, giving this two pieces of information to the HSS, asking for this kind of information, which means that what giving them the IP addresses or this information, that asking them that what is the SCSCF serving this for this particular user. So now this being done, that will respond back to the ICF, giving them the address of the serving command control call session control function. It will sending this SIP register, and now the ICF knows where is the serving SCCF where. For example, assume you have in the network 4 serving call session control function. So the HSS will tell them that this particular users is serving, for example, can be served by the SCCF 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. So this is the main idea why the interrogating CSCF is invoking or interrogating the HSS to get the information about the serving call session control function. Also, other important information that the HSS check, not only the serving command control session function, it's also checking this IMBI and MBU to check that this user is authorized network or not. Maybe the user is restricted or blacklisted or whatever. So this is just a confirmation also of the information which is being communicated to ICSF. So once he received the address, it will forward the same information from the ICF to the serving CSCF. Then the SCF actually will check this user is being authorized to access the network or not. As you remember, and also the function which being mentioned in the previous video, that one of the function of the serving call session control function is to do the registration or complete the registration for the IMS for the users. So now the serving will send multimedia authentication request to the HSS, and this will include a piece of information also for the user identity. Ask them, please give me the authorization vector of this user. So actually what it means by authorization vector, what kind of information it's requesting the HSS to provide. If you look into here, the authentication vector is actually consisting of 5 things or 5 points. First one is random number and this authentication vector. And this is the network response, something called X response, and the ciphering and integrity keys, which is being required from the. This all information will be including in the multimedia authentication answer. Actually, this is authentication called authentication token, and this is usually generated by something called master key. And in summary, this information is just being used by the SCCF to start challenging the users about his authentication is being able to access the network or not. So it will send this kind of information to the ICF, then it will be sent to proxy CSF, but the proxy CSF will filter out this information, especially for the they call it CK and IK, which is a ciphering key and integrity. It will just it will be saved within the proxy CSF, and it will just be forwarding these two information, which is user identity and the random here. Then what will happen? The user now will add some information. He will send in the SIP register his own response called signal response, which also the user is what the user is doing. Actually, the users also can generate his own authentication vector and through something called master key. So he will compare whatever being received from the SCCF with the one which is being generated by the users. If both are equal, this means he's authorized. So he'll send again a new sub-register, including his own response that yes, authorized to access. He will send this one, which is called signal response. And also, again, he will include his UIP address, asking me, please send me the feedback at this IP address or the acknowledge at this IP address. Then this message will be forwarding. And the last step here, the SCF, once he receives this information, he will compare this RES, which is signal response, with the X response from the network. If both are equal to each other, then this means the user is being authorized. And the last step that now the serving call session control function need to inform the HSS to update its own database that I will be serving these users all over the way for the meantime. So it's just asking them to update the information and to restore the new information that I'm the one who's going to serve this particular user. Then it will be just sending acknowledgement to the user. So this is just the end-to-end call flow. Now let's go through the details about the SIP register message, which is going contain very important information which you need to understand about it. Actually, here I just take the figure which is the endpoint for between the user and proxy CSCF. And here we'd like to go through the details, especially for the SIP register message. You can see in the bottom left here where we have the from the drive test or even from the if you have prop or if you have prop, I mean from traces being captured from the IMS side, so you can check from the Wireshark, you'll find the same information. So here you have four information as you can see. The first one was the first SIP register, which is this one. Then you will have the response, which is 401 unauthorized, which is the proxy or the serving CSCF is challenging the users. Then it will have the response from the users. Then again, it will be ending by 200 OK, which is acknowledgement, which is telling the user now you are registered to the IMS network. So let's explore quickly what is the IMS register information. Let's zoom in here and right here. If you zoom into this part, you will find that first part here in the first sub register, it's having this register message, which is actually meaning that, okay, this user is sending, now this is just telling them that I'm trying to register to the SCSF, so it's sending this request to the BCSF. And as you can see here, this is including many information as a method. First, the method register. I would like to register to the IMS network. And after that, it's just giving you that the SIP URI here, which is IMS dot, for example, mobile network country XYZ, MC XYZ. Then here this is SIP version, which is SIP version 2.0. So this is just in summary, this is just telling the P-CSCF I would like to register to the net. And the second one is via. Via actually this is just including the IP address. If remember, we mentioned that the user need to send his IP address to the network. So the IP address here, just telling them, please send me the response at this particular message. Then here you have something called maximum forward. This is actually it's just telling like how many what is the maximum number of hops you have it here. What it means by maximum number of hops. For example, as you know, the user initially will send the register message to the P-CSCF, right? Then the P-CSCF need to forward this message to I-CSCF, which is interrogating. Then again, he need to forward to the serving control or serving SCCF. And this is actually each one of those is counted as a hub. So just the network is telling him he knows that the maximum hub. He's telling them that maximum hubs you can take is 70, for example. This is not usually not looking into that much. And this one, BX is network information. Actually, this is just including information about the serving cell identity and also the RAT. For example, he's scamming an FDD, and this is the cell ID, which is telling them about his own information. So this then the from one, this is just telling them about the IMBU. If you remember, this is the identity of the sender, which is IMS public user identity. This is also one of the information which is being sent. And the same for two, just telling them about which one you would like to call, and this is a public or IMBU for the mobile terminating or the you can see EUEB. Then you have something called C sequence. For example, here it's showing as one register. This is indicating to the network how many times you send that sub register. For example, assume he sent one sub register initially and it was not successful, he initiated another one. So this one will come as 2. If it's failed, we'll send another one, which will be coming as 3, for example. Then you have this kind of information within this contact. This is showing you the IME, so you can get the IMEI for this particular user from this information. Then here there is something called expires, and this is very important information. This is very, very important because actually this is, as somebody is telling you what is IMS registration period. What it means by this? It means this is in second. For example, this 80,000 second. This means that the user need to renew his registration before the expiry of this timer. So in case if the user didn't send a renew, for example, assume that he's out of service or whatever, then the IMS will deregister the users from the network. So this is very important also during the troubleshooting. And also some of the information before that part. For example, this is the contact here. This contact actually is telling that this is the UE address. It's telling about his address, his own address. And also one of the information under the contact one here, you'll find that this is here is saying that IMS ICSI MMMTEL is just stating that I'm supporting the services for like the MTAS and also, for example, the SMS over IB. Here, this is kind of information is being stated here, but especially for the MMMTEL as mentioned here. And here this is already being discussed. Then the last one, which is about the authorization, which is actually very important. As you can see here in this authorization, there is something called digest username. And this one is actually digest username is including the IMB, which is user private identity. And here it's informing them that, okay, this is the address of the SCCF, for example, authentication center, which I would like to access, or I would like to get authentication, or I need to get authentication from the SCCF. Then it will be ending by this nouns. This will be later on also in the save register message, second one or the 401, where the user will start comparing the information received by the network with his own information to confirm he's being authorized to access the network or not. So this is just in general what we have in the save register. And now the next one, which is about the 401, for example, unauthorized. This one will just contain something called nouns and other information, which just giving the information is being mentioned, for example, the numbers and random numbers and this kind of information, where the user need to compare to his own numbers to make sure that he's being authorized or not. He will compare. Once it's being equal, he will be sending a response back to the network or the sub register, which is a sending response about his own, as we mentioned before, signal response. As I mentioned before, the signal response that, okay, this is my response. After I compared, I found that I'm authorized to access the network. And once it's received from the serving CSCF, it will compare the same and it will reply back to the users that, okay, with 200K, now you are authorized